Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I do not know who are you at the present moment. Kindly please type your name as well as give permission to this stream to show your name as well as your profile photo. I will just do this as usual. Let me close this. Okay, we'll hold on. Yeah,
Hello.
guys, this is the link. I request everybody to what they call click the link and also give permission to this restream to show your name as well as your profile photo so that myself and also this what they call this Austin. Sorry, forgot your name.
No
Austin.
problem.
Yeah, it's the same name as a city in Texas. So to see your name as well as your profile photo while you chat. That is important because with that we will know who is talking and we can communicate better in a more intimate way, and also to make sure that you have a chance to win the LTD giveaway. So there will be 5 prizes to be won, and I hope everybody have a what they call good chance to win it. So before we actually start, let me introduce myself. I'm the founder of downloadsilo.com, and most of you are actually from our Facebook group where we meet very often, in the various Facebook Live as well as in the chat. So today we are happy to have Austin from this Humanagement Software .io, Humanagement.io. He's a founder, and we would like to welcome him and ask him a few questions before I actually demo the product to you. So Austin, are you ready?
I sure am.
Good. So Austin, where are you from and why do you want to start up this so-called Humanagement.io software?
So I'm from Clearwater, Florida. I started the software because I've worked in a lot of HR fields, some sales, some marketing, and I, through time, kind of transitioned more into a technology role. I ended up building a custom software for my old employer, like an ERP to manage their whole business. And in doing that, I saw certain tools that I'd picked up over the years of HR that I wanted to incorporate into their software. And as I was doing that and seeing how having all that in one place, especially regard specifically to managing employees for executives in HR, I decided that I can make my own software, which would use a lot of those tools. And that's basically where the idea of Human Management came from. Is
That sounds
very
good.
simple software for managing employees.
Yeah, I believe, I mean, from our private conversation, you have many years of experience in this field. So that's
Yeah.
why you actually wanted to start this on your own. And actually, when I what I call browse through your website, I realized that it's not only a HR software, it include other things, like knowledge
Mm-hmm.
base, like onboarding kind of facility. So I'm not going to tell them, you tell them later how is it like. So one more thing I want to ask is, okay, do you have a distributed team or do you have a concentrated team in certain city or what? Because now it's a globalized world.
Yeah, absolutely. So most of the people I work with are in Nigeria. That's like where the two developers that I work with are both in Lagos, Nigeria. Yeah, I like kind of having people in one centralized place because then time zone wise, like that, it's one thing to worry about. I do have another developer, or sorry, not a developer, a virtual assistant from Kyrgyzstan. But yeah, so that's basically my team. But mainly, I like working with like Nigeria, Africa, because also my mom's side of the family is all from Nigeria. So
Mhm. Okay, so I mean, it's become a trend, so that a lot of founders they have distributed team. So I mean, we tap all the talent from different parts of the world, whether in
hmm
Asia, Africa, America, Russia, or whatever, Ukraine, the little. So it's a good thing. I say that a lot of communication within with various minds, not by minds, and this is a good thing. So
yeah,
without further
absolutely.
ado, I would like to invite you to actually go into the backend and share your screen and demo to us, uh, why you call this ultimate employee management tool.
Yeah,
Please.
absolutely. So one thing before I start the video, just as a brief pre-explanation, basically what I'm trying to do is instead of just being a simple HR tool and concentrating on helping companies that have like a dedicated HR staff, I'm trying to help companies that are growing, right? So the basic problem or the basic person that could really benefit from the software is a lot of people start a business because they want to do something, right? Like for instance, you like doing these lives and promoting software, and so you started a business. So when you're really successful, you're going to start needing employees, people to help you out. You know, for me, that's developers, a virtual assistant. For you, that might be assistants, people to help promote things, etc. So as you start hiring employees, you are then going to become an employer instead of just an entrepreneur. And when you switch over to the employer hat, you have a lot of different barriers and challenges that are running into things like training employees, things like keeping track of their HR records, having approvals and requests streamlined and tracked, and keeping metrics on different employees so you can evaluate their performance. Things like this, I didn't find many softwares actually confronting that problem, right? Like the HR software just kind of skipped to the larger companies who just have HR problems. So yeah, the basic idea of what I'm trying to do here and what the features I'll show you is I put a bunch of features together that all make it easier to run employees. If you have your business and you're now 10 employees, you're going, am I doing this right? Am I set up for the future? I'm worried about, can I bring on another 10 staff and will I actually get the value out of them? That's the perfect situation where you need management to make your life easier and to have the company you want. So without further ado, I'll jump in.
Yeah, that's good. So share your screen. Not up yet.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, it's coming on. Let me enable it. Okay. Yeah, it's shown now.
Okay, good. So this is Humanagement. You have a basic dashboard here. Each employee will have their own unique dashboard that'll have the same features, but the data will be unique for those employees. So the idea here is that each employee is a user. And so when you buy like a 10 user package or 20 user package, you're buying for 10 employees or 20 employees. There's no difference between a user and an employee. So the first feature I'm going to show is the attendance. So in here, you can easily have people clock in, right? Needs my location so that I can record that as well. So they can clock in and they can clock out. I also have this working as a status. So if I wanted to say like I'm in at the office and I press here, it'll record that I'm in and I'm in at the office, or I can be unavailable, like I'm going to the restroom, etc. So that's the attendance feature. And then I'm going to jump over into what you can do with that data. So for one, you can look at it in this format here. You can edit the data. If someone wants to change, and it'll record if they changed it, or if they want to add a clock in because they forgot to clock in, etc. If you're an admin, you can view everyone's clock ins this way. If you're not an admin on attendance, then you can only view your own. And then for your actual, exporting of data, you can see in here, this is the format where you can export it and bring it into your payroll software. You can see that this person had a PTO day. And so a lot of times they'll need to look, or HR people need to look in multiple places to figure out if someone had a PTO day or if, why they weren't clocked in, whatever. So all that stuff is recorded in here and would be in that CSV export. You can also go through different weeks, etc. So then the next feature I'll jump into is the employee users. So this is the most classical HR type feature. We have a lot of data you can store on each employee. Each employee has their own profile. You can fill it out for them, or they can fill it out themselves. Like birthday, date employed, personal phone, more private info like their emergency contact, their social security number, or employer identification number, their pay rate, which by the way is what gets displayed when you're exporting the working hours. Last pay change, paid eval. You can control their permissions here, whether an admin or not for each app. You also have a time off tracker, which I'll get into a little bit on how time off works here. But you can see all the time offs that they have, whether it's approved or not, as well as the counts for how many days they have left. And then you can also assign responsibilities. You can load files, and you can also see all the policies that they've read, which is another feature I'll get to in a minute. So the one I want to concentrate on now is the responsibilities. So this is kind of a unique solution I haven't seen in many HR softwares. What this basically for is a lot of people, when you hire them, like let's say you hire a customer service representative, they'll think that their whole job is therefore to be a customer service representative. But if you're a founder, then you know that that usually isn't what it is. That actually has specific duties and responsibilities that they're responsible for. In one company, a customer service rep might just answer phones, and another one might answer phones and manage a CRM. So in here, you can actually create their responsibilities and you can save it to them. And then when you fire this employee, instead of trying to figure out, well, what did they do? And the new person, will they do everything? You can actually just reassign it to them. So this feature becomes a little bit more useful when you look at it as a Kanban. So you can see all of your employees here, all of your active employees, and you can easily move the responsibilities from one employee to the other. So if you're like a founder and you fill up your responsibilities, everything that you're doing, it makes it really easy when you make that first hire to then just drag a few of your responsibilities over to them. Then it's recorded, the date that it was assigned to them, and then you have that clarity in knowing what everyone does. So you can also view this data in the structure of, well, there's a list view, for all of your employees. Very simple. You can view data that way as well. Or you can view it as an org chart. So this org chart is created automatically just when you're creating your employees. You say this is their manager. It'll create an org chart with their division. Their division is this color here. You can edit that color here by going, this is the sales division. This is their purpose or what they're trying to achieve. You can set the order. You can move things from one area to the other, and it changes their division and who their manager is in the back end and all that sort of stuff. So in here, you can really easily keep track of what everyone does, the organization of your company, and it's all automatic. So I try to make the software so it doesn't take a lot of time for you to set up. You just go in, put in the data, and add some employees, then automatically all the features will start to work. You don't have to spend an hour or 30 minutes trying to set up all the data in the correct way. Everything's meant to be intuitive. So that's the employees HR feature. The next feature I'll go into is request. So as I was showing you a little bit earlier, there is a paid time off feature. So first request type that I'll show you is a time off request. So in here, you can have different time off types like sick day, PTO. You can add however many you want. You can assign certain amounts to each employee, like they get 5 or 10 or whatever. And then you also can put a description. So like I need to go on vacation, right? And then you can put their dates. You can set in your company what days of the week you work. And so that will then be used here to figure out how many days, what days they can select based on what days your office is open. You can also set who's covering you. So a lot of times when someone says, hey, I need to pick up a week, they'll forget to say, well, and I talked to Joe, and Joe is the one who will manage my support request. So that can become really confusing for a founder when suddenly his employee who's missing, and that's fine with him, but now there's a bunch of extra workload. So instead of it just flowing up, it can flow to whoever they assigned there. So that's not the only request type. There's also a pay and post change. So if someone's saying, hey, I want to be making $10 more, instead of just saying I want $10 more in a random email or in a Zoom call, they can send a request. So they can say, hey, I'm being paid $10 now. I want to be paid $15. And then it's recorded very nice. They can say, this is why I deserve a raise, everything, and then submitted. The last request type is an approval request. So an approval request is like the MacGyver request. It can be for anything. Some examples of use cases are a real estate investment company that's a client of mine. They use it because sometimes collection people hear about repairs that need to be done. So instead of having to figure out what to do with that, they can just send it as a request. So one of the really nice things about a request, right? So let's say they're needed, and then let's put some random text here, right? And they can upload a file. So one of the really nice things is they can send a request to anyone. Requests are not in a very specific manner. And because of that, as your company has people who get promotions or you hire new employees, you don't have to set rigid lines that you're constantly having to maintain. So instead, you can just set a policy. You say, okay, well, if you're doing a request for a repair, then you have to send it to whoever, right? But for this demo, I'll just say Austin Kerr, so it's nice and easy for us. So when I send that request, it would come into me. I'd be able to see it over here that I now have a request. I would also get an email saying, hey, you have a request. I can click on to get there. And then in that request, I have some options. So I can see the request and I can forward it, I can approve it, or I can deny it. So I can forward it a limited number of times. So let's say he sent it to me and I wasn't the right person, I could forward it. Or let's say he sent it to me and I approve it, but I need someone else's opinion before I could really say, yes, I want you to go, someone else to go get a quote to do a repair. So I can just forward it. In this case, I'll forward it to myself, but I can leave a comment saying whatever is happening. That can then gets logged in here. So you can see that this data becomes really, really useful. A lot of companies, especially when they're growing, they will sometimes fall under the pressure of the different requests, people's ideas, the things they weren't expecting, and they won't have a good system to help them solve that. So request is that system. So when a request does reach approval, I can approve it, and I have the choice to assign it as a task to someone. So what that means is if someone said, if a customer service person said, hey, this needs to be repaired, they then sent that over to someone else. It went to someone else, went to the CEO. He said, yeah, we should repair that. He can then assign that to the repair person and say, hey, repair person, please repair this, right? And so that brings us to assignments. And so in assignments, when you're over here, I would now have an assignment. It's unacknowledged. I can then click into it, and I can then update the progress into in progress or completed or submitted, right? I can also view this as a Kanban if I want to, and I can easily move them over. And the really important thing about this is the originator can actually see, oh, well, this is now completed. So it doesn't have to stay in their mind as something they need to worry about. It's in a system and it's tracked. And they can also go to request, and when something's been approved or denied, they can hide it. Or if they submit something and it's an accident, they can delete it. They can always view all of the requests that they've submitted before or been an approver on. This isn't like everyone's request. This is quite private, but you can get all the data that way. So that is the request feature. So in the assignments, I can also just go and create an assignment. So let's say, for instance, I need my HR person to hire someone. There are some great project management tools out there. I'm not trying to replace those, but sometimes project management tools are really great for like developing a software where you have a plan, you have tasks that are related to that plan. This is more for like just a one-off, hey, HR person, I need you to do this, and I want some tracking for it. This is a perfect system for just that random sort of request. So we also have a purchase request. So this is another type of request where you're saying, hey, I want to spend money. So this isn't like a QuickBooks. This is more of a budgeting tool. So I can go in here and say, hey, I need to buy something from Amazon. I need it to be, let's say it's an online store, and this is going to be an online purchase. And I can say, buy me a chair. Instead of saying I want a random chair, I can say I want this specific Amazon chair. I can then put the price of it, and I can then send that in. This follows the same lines where I can go to anyone limited number of times, except for here, the only person who can give approval is the finance. So over here, something that's like a request over here, office chair, I could forward it to someone else, I could deny it, or I could forward it to finance. And so when this gets forwarded to finance, that then means that the finance approver, who will get an email, he's then able to basically go in there, and then he can approve it. It'll then go to a person or someone from Treasury who can then pay it, and then hey, my chair has been ordered. I can expect it soon. So this just gives a lot of clarity to those sorts of functions. So the next feature I'll go into is the knowledge base. So this kind of is expanding on what I was talking about earlier on assigning responsibilities to someone. I have kind of like 5 major things that I'm doing: HR features, the request management, and training employees. So when it comes to training employees, it starts with just giving them responsibilities. It then expands into creating an article. So an article is like a standard knowledge base piece of action. So I can go over here and I can say, yeah, I'm going to create an article, and this is, blah, blah, blah article. I can choose whether it's public or not, meaning I can send it to someone who's not a user, or I can only send it to someone who is a user. I can give whatever categories I want to it. I can assign it to a division, which I'll get into in a moment. I can add tags to it. This is rich text. I can do headings. I can add pictures. I can add tables. I can also record videos directly from my web browser. So I can go and I can record a video if I want to, and I can load that into here. Sorry, I denied the permission. So, all right, so I can record a video. I could record a screen only. I can upload videos. I can upload files. I can even make a challenge for acknowledgement. So I have the option of doing a signature, or I can do a multiple choice. And so to show this, what this means a little bit more, I'm going to go to my sample article here. If I can remember the name of it, the one that I set up properly. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so this is a sample article. And you can see over here, there is a history of reads and updates. So every time that an article is updated, what's actually going to happen is what's going to happen is it's going to log and record that version, but it is also going to allow people to mark it as read. So for instance, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to edit this article text here and press update. So automatically you can see that this shows up here as updated, right? And because I've updated it, I now have the chance to acknowledge and mark it right. If I had made a challenge, then you have to solve the challenge before you can acknowledge and mark as right if you want to test someone's comprehension. So this also works as a LMS or a learning management system. So here's the policy. You can see it's been read by these people, and then it was updated. I can also see the expanded version, see all the times it was updated and read by each person. And I can also view all the employees, and I can see whether or not they've read this current version. And so I can click acknowledge and mark as read, which will then update in here. And you can see that I've now read this. So the problem I'm solving here is that policies often change. They don't change off like a lot, but they do change. So someone writes a policy on sick days, for instance, and they say, yeah, this is what we're going to do. We're going to offer sick days. And then 6 months later, they go, you know what? I'm going to offer 8 sick days. Well, all the employees who read that old policy are going to know one policy, and maybe now new employees who get handed that policy are going to know the new policy. So when you edit it, you're going to have to go to all of your other employees and say, hey, I need you to read this again. And maybe they're going to, if it's something like a benefit that you took away or a new way that you are sending in requests or something like that, it's important for people to know those updated policies. So in here, and this is the first one I've seen that does this, it does a really good job of automatically tracking and keeping track of who's read what version of policy. So when I was showing on the employee users, you can see all the policies that each of these users have read. You can see the last day that it was edited and what last day they read it. So you can see if they've read that current version or not. And you can use all this data to have a really good compliance, especially on legal stuff, with your employees and knowing the policies, knowing the hats, knowing how to do things. And it's all done very, very easily without you having to set up, big complicated things. You just go in, write an article, and when you assign it to a division, all that means is that they're going to get an email when that is published or when that's edited. You'll also be notified on their dashboard that they need to study it. So that's the knowledge base feature. So the next one that I'm going to go into, let's see here, is the checklist. So checklist is another really useful tool for keeping in policies and standards of work, right? So in here, you have something called a section, and then you also have something called a subsection, or a substep. So in here, we have the section like, let's say we're doing a checklist on new employee onboarding, right? So in here, right, you usually don't need to set up a lot of these, but having a few is very, very useful. Sometimes they're called routing forms, right? And so we have a new employee onboarding. We can say that this is, greet them. And then we can have some instructions. We can have some text input. We have a bunch of different field types. We can then create another section and say this one is going to be assigned to the manager. And this will be show them their desk. And then we can have some more instructions, like we could say this is to, clean their desk, and so on and so forth. So that's basically the function here, is we can create these reusable routing forms. And one thing that's really nice about them is instead of assigning it to a specific person who can then be fired, then you have to go and fix things, it's instead assigned to either a position or to a division. And so if you have a division for executives, or for IT or sales, you can just say, well, this section is assigned to the IT division. And so what's going to happen when someone's trying to fill it out is what I had made before, right? So as I go through, I can fill this out and say, this is the Bobby Halton 1, right? Oh, I have caps lock on. There we go. And so as I'm filling it out, it'll then look into the system and say, okay, well, this next section is assigned to an HR manager. This is your HR manager, and you can select them. And then now it knows that the next section is assigned to that HR manager. They'll get an email, they can click it, they can go in, they'll also get a notification on the system. And then that way you have these nice routing forms or checklists that can keep in these standards of practice. Every time you get a new client, X, Y, and Z might need to happen. So rather than doing a knowledge-based article and then hoping people keep it in, you can just have them do a checklist. And these are logged. You can print them out. You can do a lot of things with the checklist once they're done. You can see all of the ones that have been started, whether it's done or in progress and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so the last feature I'll be going into is the statistics feature. So for statistics, one of the big problems that companies run into is once they start hiring people, it's always trying to figure out, is the money I'm giving them worth it? Am I getting more money back than I'm spending on them, right? And you're going to run into this a lot when people ask for raises. People are going to go, hey, well, I've been here for 6 months. I want more money. And you have to think, well, it's not about how long they've been here. It's, are they more valuable? Are they bringing more to the company than they were before that I can afford to give them more money, right? And so statistics are a really, really great tool for that. You can also use it just to keep track of anything. So in here, you can create statistics very easily. You just go and you say, like, I want to keep track of, new emails, or that'd be a weird one. Let's say support requests, right? So that's all the only field that you need that's required to fill in. Now I have support requests. I can easily go and say, hey, it's Monday. I got 5 support requests this week. Hey, okay, what about next week? I have this many support requests, right? And you can just keep building this every week, and then you'll have your data. And this is very simple. There's some other tools like Power BI, which is a really great tool that's really robust, but takes a little bit of a learning curve and also only allows for data from external software. So what's cool about my stat feature, my analytics, whatever you want to call it, is you can have 3 different data types or 3 different ways of generating data. So the 3 ways are manual, as I just showed you here, right? You can do it on a table, you can edit it, whatever. You can also do a calculating stat. So this one is an average closing percentage. So what I'm able to do here is I'm able to make this a calculating stat, right, instead of manual entry. And then because of that, I can then say, well, this is closed leads, right, as the first thing, plus the stat of new leads, and then multiplied by 100, or divided by the stat of new leads, or whatever you want to do, you can do, and you can create these very complicated, very simple calculations. If you have a bunch of salespeople and you want a total, and you want them to each keep track of their own gross income, then you can add up all their gross income for like a total gross income in your company, and then you can take that total, then divide it by your number of employees for your average income per employee, which then gives you a good idea of how much you can afford to pay people. So this is very, very quickly a very robust feature. Another way that you can generate data is this does connect with Zapier. I'm working on some additional integrations. More people who pay for the LTD, the more I'll be able to develop. But basically in here, I have some pre-built recipes that also works very, very easily. It's not complicated at all to set up. It just takes one step. But in here, you could say, I want a stat for every time I get a Google review. I want to keep track of that as a stat. Or every time I get a sale in, I want to keep track of the number of sales. Or every time I get a sale in from Stripe, I want to keep track of the dollar amount for my gross income. Or I want to keep track of all of the Trello tasks that were completed. Or every time I got an email that meets a certain search filter, like a support request. And so in this way, you can very easily go in and you can get data from other sources and keep up to date very easily. You can also view it as either this format here, where everything is a list view over here showing you whether it's up or down last time it was updated, or you can view it as a stat grid. So in this way, you have a bunch of different stats this way. If you go over to here, you also get a bunch of cool features for analyzing the data. So let's say, for instance, let's see, how about this gross income stat? I want to, instead of viewing all the data, I want to view custom range. So I can turn on this, and then I can grab and change any sort of data range so I can see it, right? Or let's say I want to then go to this compare range. Well, now I have another line for last year. So I can say, okay, well, what about last year compared to this year? Well, then I can overlay. Ooh, I'm doing much better here, or I'm doing much worse there. And so you can use that for analysis. You can also go through and let's say this mode. So we can also say I want to compare two stats. So I can say gross income compared to gross income divided by number of employees. And I can do it that way. Or let's say here I can see that data, or if it's in a different range set, I can see, okay, this is staying, in the 0 range, whereas this one has this nice 15 in it. I can view date. I can view labels. I can also look at an accumulating point. So if I wanted to see like my custom range, and then I wanted to look at this specific period, I could see all the individual values as well as high as it got starting from that period. So it's really, really flexible. You can do a lot with it. You can also convert the data type. So like, let's say I want to now view this as, instead of weekly data as it was entered, I want to view it as monthly data. Well, now I can view it as monthly. This is the totals for the month. Or if I want to go in and say, well, instead of seeing the total for a month, I want to see the average. You can also do that. The possibilities are really endless on this one, but it's really useful for knowing how your company is doing, for how your employees are doing, or for anything. So the last thing I'll show you is, first I'm going to actually jump to the settings. So here you can put your company information like your phone number, your address, your EIN. That's something that's needed. You can also list what your company purpose is, which can be seen on the org chart or on this button. You can also do for the clock in and out. You can set timed or scheduled statuses. You can clock everyone out. You can deactivate users. You can edit your divisions and set their colors. You can also add additional menu links. So, for instance, it's a custom item. So, if you have places, obviously for GDPR, you can also cancel and delete all of your data at any point. And then in the dashboard, each employee gets their own dashboard. So you can view here, you can see all the national holidays coming up in the US at least. You can see work anniversaries and birthdays coming up, which is parsed automatically from the employee data. Each employee can see all the stats that are assigned to them and quickly add to them. They can clock in and out. They have this little to-do list, which is nice and cute. They can see all the policies that are assigned to them, and they can also see all the purchase requests or requests that need attention. And so that is my software. That is Humanagement. And so using this, you can, if you already have a business that has 5, 10, 15 employees, you will be able to easily see how a solution like this can really make it, once you get a little bit grooved into it, you can really make your business so much easier to run and make it so much less of a concern every time you hire an employee of whether or not they'll bring value, because everything is tracked, all the hatting is there. You're not having to restart every time, and you know that your company is solid and not reliant on just one employee, and also not at the mercy of anyone. So that's basically Humanagement.
You finish?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's quite what I call a fast introduction. There are many things to share with me, but
Yeah, I
I'm
talk
trying
fast.
to catch up, and also I'm trying to take down the names of the what I call the attendees, for their.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have lost some what I call your points. Okay,
No problem.
no issue. Yeah, before
That's
we
what
go
replays are
to
for.
the question from the audience, I have few questions. Maybe some people also like to ask. So let me phrase my question. Okay. I In your website you mentioned that in your due page you mentioned that there will be some LMS module with quizzes and also training onboarding, but I didn't see
Mhm.
it. So is it on the roadmap, or is it already in?
Yeah, so I can go back over that if I can share the screen again. That might have been missed in my
Yeah,
lightning speed demo. So can everyone see the screen?
yeah. Can we can see your screen,
Okay.
your share screen?
So yeah, so I do have a little bit more on the roadmap as far as linking articles together. But basically, instead of doing an LMS in a standard way of just someone creates courses that are kind of like these these sideload pieces of data. Instead, I'm going the route of having individual articles, and so each individual article then is able to track its own, is able to be assigned to people, and then is able to be tracked on whether or not it's been read. So for the example that I showed, I think, oh, whoops, sorry, I'm on someone else's actual account. Okay, so here we go. Just make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Sorry. Sorry, I'm just resharing because I want to make sure I share the right thing. Okay, so can you see?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, for example, on this one here, right? So, how to close sales. So, here's an article that was created. And so, this operates as its own kind of standalone course. So, in here, I'm saying I've assigned this policy to these divisions: customer service, executive IT, sales. So then, anyone who's been set into that group of employees, that division, will then get notifications when this is published or when this is edited. And so what happens here is we're keeping track of who has read this article, right? So it was created, and then we can see who read it, and then we can see it was updated. So right here, I can see that these employees have not read the current version. They've read a version of it, but they aren't up to date on it, right? But Austin Kerr, because we were showing it before, has actually read the most up to date version. So if I then go through and I edit this article and then I update it, it's now kept track of that it's been updated. And so this is now going to re-show up if I go to my dashboard. Oh, sorry, I'm not part of that employee group, but if I was a part of that one of the assigned divisions, then it would re-show up here that it's something I need to read. Like I can click here on this bereavement and time off, and then I can now click acknowledge and mark as read, and now that would be marked as read. I can also choose as more of an LMS feature when I'm creating it. Is something I'm currently in the progress of updating. But as I'm in here, I can also create a challenge. So I can say, hey, here's a question. And then I can say, here's this thing. And then here's the possible answers. And they have to click that answer in order to mark it as read. So you can also have like a challenge in order to, make sure that they've understood that policy correctly. So that's basically what's operating as an LMS. But what's on the roadmap, what's being worked on at the same time as we speak, is linking these articles together so you can create it as a course as well. But it'll still track the individual reads. So like a problem in the old company I ran into with an LMS is that we would create a course that would have like all of our policies on time and attendance, right? And then one of those policies would be updated. And then in order to get people to read that one policy that got updated, we have to then reassign the entire course. And so that was a little bit too much, and people then would probably not really read all of them. So in ours, instead, you're able to, even though they did the course in the first place, when it gets edited, they're going to be just sent that new edit on that one article that they did, and therefore will be much more likely to actually read it and then have that data. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I saw that now. Thank you.
No problem.
And okay, I read through some of the comment in the chat as well in the Facebook group, and also my personal feeling. I looked through the what they call your tiers, and looks like the number of seats is actually what they call the number of users. So it's pretty low in the sense that if we have more than 25 employee, then what happened? Are you going to pay monthly or what?
Yeah, I mean, so honestly, with the LTD space, one of the problems that we can run into is, getting a bunch of users that you have to be responsible for but can't pay. So it's true. I have not made like an unlimited version available for people. The most amount of employees that you can have in this with LTD is 20 employees. What would then need to happen afterwards is you would have to have that 1 or 2 additional employees you'd then have to pay monthly for. So the way that the deal has been structured, you're given a code which gives you a certain amount of dollars off each month, and that gives you up to 20 employees with all the features for for forever. That'll never expire, obviously. But if you then add employees outside of the 20, then you would need to put in a card, and then you would just be charged for that extra one or two, whatever, basically.
Yeah, of course. I think with unlimited users is actually a fallacy, so they can't be unlimited.
Yeah, I mean, my thought is like, I mean, I bought quite a few LTDs myself, and I've definitely bought some that I would never need to give that company money because I got everything I needed in my lifetime deal. But that also makes me worried because I don't know how that company's, even if I really like that tool, I don't know how stable that company will be because, they might have now 1,000 users who only pay them that once, but they have ongoing expenses. I'm going to continue wanting support, new features and stuff. So that's why I built mine the way it is. My hope in what I've seen the companies who were my early adopters is this software has made it really easy for them to scale their employees without it crippling their company. And so because of that, I like to think that I'm then able to reap the rewards of what I can give a company. And as they get employees and as they expand, they'll have no problem then paying the extra $5 a month for, one or two extra employees. But who knows,
Okay. I mean, from the what they call a user structure that you have designed. So basically, for up to 20 people, 20 user, or maybe 20 employee, that means it's for small, very small company, maybe small entrepreneurs or what. So you have anything bigger number, let's say more than 21 or above, or hundreds or maybe thousand, then it's a different total structure, So maybe your server also might need to do some changes as well, So that answers some of the question or the what they call
yeah, and
audience.
I'm also happy to if someone had 100 employees and they really loved my solution, they wanted to adopt it, but they were concerned about whatever the price is. I'm obviously happy. I wouldn't give a new LTD for like 100 employees, but I could work on the prices. I'm happy to negotiate and find something that's best use case for everyone.
Okay. One more question that is very often being asked is actually the European GDPR compliance. So how do you go about it?
So I'm not fully GDPR compliant yet. I have a lawyer that I paid who's going through the legal stuff, especially with HR data. It becomes a little bit more complicated. But what I do have is I have full end-to-end encryption of all private data. The server is fully anonymous. Someone couldn't hack that and get your information. It's only through your login. There's also a lot of security features, like if someone logs in a new location, there's an email that gets sent. They have to verify it, or if they have brute force protection as well. So if someone puts in the wrong password more than 5 times, they'll get an email and need to either reset their password or to unlock their account. So I'm working on a lot of features. I'm also on the roadmap soon is Google sign in, that sort of stuff. So security has been really, really important. I've made sure that everything in it is extremely secure, but it might be another month or so before I can officially say it's fully GDPR compliant.
So I just project up this question from Daniel Croft. He said, what is the ETA for GDPR compliance? You have a ETA?
Yeah, so, I have a rough ETA. I would probably say looking at like the beginning of September would be full GDPR compliance. I also saw one thing I didn't go over, but is a cool feature in the software is the software is fully translated to Spanish as well. And I'm looking forward to translating it to other languages. So one of the cool features, because it is translated in Spanish and the plugin I'm using for it, if you have most data won't be automatically translated if you switch over. And the software was intentionally translated, not automatically translated. However, if you do have a knowledge base article and someone goes and switches the language to Spanish, that article will be translated into Spanish, or vice versa. If it's in Spanish and someone's viewing the software in English, it'll be translated. So if you have a company that has Spanish employees and English employees, they'll be able to use the software seamlessly, and they'll be able to read the policies and everything without having to have the extra burden of having multiple versions. So that's a cool feature as well.
Okay, let me project the other question.
Yeah, I think I saw one in here that was cool.
Can you look at the main screen, or do you read from the question from the main screen?
The what?
No,
Oh,
you
okay,
look
yeah.
at the main
So
screen. Yeah.
yeah, so biometric data. So what is tracked right now is their location and their IP address. So if you look in like the log that shows all of their attendances, you can see in there the location and the IP address that they clocked in for each one. So that stuff is recorded. I do in the future want to work on more integrations, like with a biometric scanner or something at the door in order for signing out. But right now that's not in there. But what I do have, like I said, is it will track their browser's location, so you can
Okay.
make sure that they
So
signed on, in the right place.
okay, this question is on CNAME. I think it's on the roadmap, right?
Yeah, CNAME is on the roadmap. I've heard some people mention it, but I haven't gotten many people who were uh, like interested in using the software mention CNAME, so it's a little bit off. I have some things that are a little bit more ahead of it, like what I was talking about with the knowledge base and linking things into better courses, GDPR. So CNAME is on the roadmap, but it's probably a few months out, to be honest, just because of from the people who want to use the software, I haven't seen it be as big of a request.
Okay, I do not know who is this guy, but then it's us, communication between employee. So
Yeah,
is there a in-house chat or whatever?
yeah. So NS chat is also something I would love to integrate in the future. But yeah, you are correct. Currently, you would still need to use Slack, Google Hangouts, in order to track that, in order to have that sort of communication. Like I said, it is something I want to add, but with most of the companies that I've worked with, they already have a Slack or a Google that they're happy with, and so that's not something that I've gotten people being pushed very far up, but it is something I have attention on, and I would like to include chat.
Okay, so Manpreet's asking what is space allocation for RMS?
So as far as uploading files, as far as the amount of articles you can create, all that's unlimited. The only limit is on the video storage. That's at 5 gigs right now. It's a soft limit, so it's not. If you go a little bit over, you're not going to run into problems. In the future, if I have people who start going over it a lot, I can talk to them and we can figure out some sort of plan as far as managing those extra costs. But it's not something I'm trying to gouge people on. As long as I'm not losing money on it, I have no problem doing it. Pabbly and Integrately aren't integrated yet. That's on my very soon roadmap. I would love to get those finished by like the beginning of September, but they're not fully there yet.
Mm-hmm.
The security stuff and GDPR is kind of like what I'm getting as like the biggest concern, because obviously it's HR data. So that's kind of where I'm putting all of my attention, most of my attention right now, that and the knowledge base stuff.
Okay, before you answer this Monday's sync question, this is attendant. I believe that people can clock in and clock out, and you do mention that you can calculate the salary and all these things, but we live in different country, different time zone and that kind of thing. So, do you have a formula for every country to calculate their salary and also their legal contribution? That kind of thing is a headache,
Yeah. So I'm haven't tried to jump into like Deal is a great software for keeping track of all of the international space and all of those requirements. I honestly have not tried to tackle that. It's a little bit Herlichian. So I would kind of I'd be more tempted to try to integrate well with Deal for that, and then just have like attendance be what's on my app. So to answer your question, Mandy, yeah, if you watch early on the replay, they on the dashboard they can go and they can clock in, or if they forgot to clock in, they can then go through the attendance app and clock in. You can see that it was a externally added one. So I do have pretty good solution for marking attendance.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Okay,
Yeah, you have okay. So I have knowledge base in a policy document area, but how about creating assignments for onboarding and creating quizzes for periodic staff training? So I didn't go into it too much because it's still being it's being pushed probably today or tomorrow. But as far as quizzes, for someone to mark a policy as read, you can create a challenge where they have to answer multiple choice question. They have to answer it right in order to mark it as read. That's your choice. You can also make it so that they have to sign it. And then in the push is also when they sign or mark as read in a policy, you'll be able to actually download a certificate saying that this person did it. So if you need like special policies, sometimes you have to send it to a government body for compliance or whatever, depending on your industry. This will support that as of should be tomorrow that I'll push that update. But as far as like other types of questions, I haven't really explored into it too much. But with the use of like the checklist, if someone's onboarding, you can create some challenges for them to do to keep track of, for things for them to do to know their post better. And you can also do with like any sort of assignment. So an assignment doesn't have to be work related. It could also be, talk to 5 employees or talk to whatever. So you can send anything in an assignment on its own, which can also kind of help for that purpose.
So this question is, can you restrict or complete or partial access? But I don't understand why you want to restrict, because it's all entry by email, no?
Can we restrict complete or partial access to selected IP range?
I mean,
yeah. So it's an interesting question. Yeah, I mean, basically, you can set permissions, and permissions will affect what someone can do in each app. And so, yeah, it is all based on email. So it's not based on like IP range. However, if someone signs in from a new IP, then they would have to go and verify that it is them signing in through their email. So there is that security aspect there, but I don't fully understand the use case, I guess.
Yeah, I don't understand, because I mean, unless people are hacking into your email, using the email and password to go into the system,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know who asked this question. Can you maybe say it again? Why you want to have this kind of features?
Yeah.
Okay. Ankit Jetli he's complaining about the user limit.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that I know that some of the LTD community won't like that I'm not giving 50 users or 100 users for the software, and I'm kind of accepting that that's going to be some sales I won't make, but I am also my purpose here is to build a software that can really affect the way that everyone does business and make work better for everyone, not just employees, but for employees and everyone involved. So, I know that there's some people who, would like to just fully get everything on a lifetime deal, but I'm kind of treating my lifetime deal a little bit more as like my free version, or, something enhanced. Obviously, it's not just like 1 user or 2 users. You get 20 employees, which, is a company for sure. Lots of companies have less than 20 employees. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted like 25, then you can message me and we can talk about, working on some sort of deal. But I am hoping to get some people who will eventually, truly and honestly end up as paying at least 1 or 2 users on the monthly. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Austin, I have some suggestion on this. Okay, I mean, just the suggestion, Right now,
Yeah.
Tier 1 is $39, Tier 2 is $69, Tier 3 is $99. So maybe for people who want to have more users, so either you create Tier 4, Tier 5, whatever, or in each of the individual tier, you increase the user. Okay, which means you have to see, what kind of are there many requests on that versus the sales done, that kind of thing. I mean, we can't make the decision for you because it involves cost of hosting as well as server costs. So your cost better. I mean, there's no harm to increase another Tier 4 or Tier 5.
Yeah.
Many founders, that kind of thing. Or maybe another method is after the LTD is over or whatever. Let's say now is 20 is a maximum user right now. For each and every increase of the user in future, maybe you can cap it, one-time deal or whatever. I mean, this is just a suggestion, because LTD buyers are very sensitive about, you're going to charge me again and again, and it's unknown cost, that kind of thing. So I've gone through all these things. Just a suggestion.
Yeah. I mean, I could do a higher tier. I could do it. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I would say right now is just like if the number of users is a big concern to you, then just message me, and then I'm happy to talk. And if a few people message me, or as I'm getting a lot of complaints here, I can then I'm not set in stone on anything. I'm obviously very eager to listen to people and what they need and what they want. Having a good company that has a lot of users who could give me a testimonial or something is obviously extremely valuable. So for now, yeah, send me a message. I'm happy to discuss it further, and I'll take your advice and think about adding maybe another a fourth tier or fifth tier.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next question is, what are the security protocols in place for confidential information? I think that's a valid question.
Yeah, no, sure. Yeah, so what I was saying earlier is, yeah, we have a few features like brute force protection. There's a lot, or like if someone signs into from a new location, there's an email that gets sent to the email account on file. They have to then click that email and unlock their account in order to sign in. So there's some good protection against someone hacking into your account, and then end-to-end encryption. So I am in the process of getting GDPR. So I've met all of the security requirements for GDPR already. The only thing I'm working on is making sure that my terms of service is worded correctly in compliance with everything. You also can always, there's a button on your account where you can delete all the information from the server, from everything. It's eradicating from the payment processor. And so everything is in compliance with GDPR on security, as well as lots of protection on signing in.
Okay, CNAME has been answered, but then SMTP, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I also don't have anything special for SMTP. Right now, all the emails come from Humanagement. So, when someone sends a request or anything like that, it's, Humanagement email that'll come through. Setting that up to be their own one. Yeah, I mean, from here, maybe it is a bigger concern than I'm thinking, and it is something that I should put earlier on the roadmap. As far as API and webhooks, I do have an open API. I haven't made it public for everyone because that's another one of those things I'm trying to make sure of from the GDPR sense. I don't know what security things I need to do for that. But if someone specifically wanted the access to the API or the webhooks for the software, I could give them that page of like all what they all are, or I could give them the URLs or the naming scheme. And so it is open for that. I just have still some things I'm trying to figure out and make sure that I'm doing everything in compliance.
Okay, I think we have answered most of the question, unless I have missed, by scrolling, down.
Yeah, let me look through really quick. I think that's everything. I'd like to also just say, like, it's really cool how many people are giving like thumbs up and saying that they like the product. Like, that means a lot. I've been building this for the last year and a half. And sometimes when you're building a product, because I know a lot of people are also SaaS people, sometimes you feel a little bit crazy. Are people really going to like this? Is this going to be as useful as I think it is? And so seeing the people who, responding so positively and stuff, it really means a lot. It's very cool. I hope that a lot of you guys will decide to try out the software. Like I said, if you have some specific concern, feel free to message me. I'm very open to talking about anything. I love this software, so I'm happy to talk about it all day and all night to anyone. I also do offer, I have a VA, and so we will onboard all of your data. So if you want to use it, but you don't want to enter all of your employees, I am working on some really cool features to make it easier to add that stuff. But in the meantime, I'm happy to help you, just for free, go through and onboard your data, or whatever you need help with. So feel free to message us about that as well.
Okay, Austin, just now we are talking about the IP addresses. So this is the use case.
Oh, interesting. So that makes sense, what he's asking.
Mhm.
I have not thought about that at all. But it certainly could be worked out, like an IP blocker or something, where you say, hey, this is the only location that people can sign in.
which
the
means
settings.
the employee cannot access to company data while at home or in other places. I mean, that is a most
Yeah.
important thing. Yeah. Now
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I didn't really think about that sort of thing because everything's so global now. You know, that's kind of like the way people think about things, is that they need to access the data from everywhere. But I can certainly see from like a corporate company that could be something to add. So that's a good idea. I will really look into that one. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, the last question is this by Steve Bessler. Is there a tool to import employee information from other HR tools?
Yeah, so I don't have anything yet for that. I do, like I said, I'm in the meantime, I have my me and my virtual assistant, who I'll happily assign to spend 2-3 hours integrating your data. But yeah, it's something that I was working, or in some demos I've done recently, I've realized that I need a lot better setup for when someone signs up, like especially with stats, like suggesting them, hey, these are some stats to keep, or whatever, a button to create them, or a really nice importer for company data, etc. So that's something I will definitely be working on in the very, very near future.
Okay, I think we have answered most of the question. Unless there is any other question that has not been answered, please type it in the new chat, and we can answer that. Because it's very difficult for us to scroll up and down and looking for the chat.
Yeah, it's so cool how many people are asking questions, though. I really.
Okay, we have about 40 people right now, so that is the issue.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
guys, we give you a few minutes, to what I got to ask question while I collect the names and share my screen to do the giveaway. Give me a few minutes.
Mhm.
You also can check the question, and answer that. Okay, hold on.
Absolutely.
Okay, let me copy and paste. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. The views of name. Okay, guys, you can see that, right?
Yep.
We have 44%. I hope most of the names are there. 99% or so. Okay. Before we spin, let's answer Charles Yo's question.
So yeah, that's a great question. I don't actually have templates for different industries.
What kind
I
of
was
template
talking a
you
little bit
talking
about that. That kind of being where I'm realizing I need to work on now, is making it easier for a company, or focusing more on a company starting and the different challenges they might have just in loading new data or figuring out how to use the software. So that's kind of one of the main things that I'm concerned about and trying to improve now.
Okay, somebody say your names are not there. Srianas Jain. What time you came in? If you come in the last minute, should we put your name? I mean,
If you can't see your name, it might be because you haven't given the permission, as you
because you didn't give
earlier.
permission or whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Ankit Sama also, I can't see your name. Yeah, guys, please come in early, to have a full benefit of this webinar, and not just come to put your name and win. That will not be our objective. Okay, no problem. Let me add the names. Okay, guys, I will spin. Oh, this is the last question. Very good question. Can we stack code for more employees? Just now we have answered that. So Steve, get in touch with
No, yeah,
Austin.
no stacking at this moment.
Okay. Okay, guys. I'm here for the last 45 minutes. the problem is there's no permission given to to the platform, so we can't see your name. So we have difficulty.
Yeah, maybe if you just write your name,
Yeah.
if you can't figure out how to give permission,
Okay.
then you can add it.
Yeah, guys, I think we don't have to waste time on that. Let's spin and get the first winner out, and we have 5 winners today. Let's go.
Okay.
Nayan Ali, SK Nayan Ali. Are you there? If you are there, please answer with your name. You are there. Then we'll award the LTD code to you. SK Nayan Ali, are you there? If you are not there to claim your prize, we have to give to somebody. Yeah, I see your name, SK. Congratulations. So let's draw the second name. Let's shuffle again. Charles Yo, congratulations. Sorry, tapping your name wrongly. I mean, I don't have a good fingers. Okay. Charles, are you there? Still alive. Okay, congratulations. Yeah, sorry to type your name wrongly. Okay, Charles Yo is the second winner, and we will choose the last, not last, the third winner. Shuffle again. Let's go. Hamanta Chatel. I think he's around, if I'm not wrong. Hamanta Chatel. Are you there? Let me check. Wu. Who is Wu? Can you type your name? Sorry, I have to do this validation, because you didn't give permission to the restream to show your name, so. Amanta Chatel, can you please type your name in the chat saying that you are there?
No, your name.
You say you are here, but then I don't know who you are. I must know the name. Okay, guys, is this him? I think it's him. Okay, congratulations. So, Hamanta. Okay, guys, you know what is the issue, because if you don't give permission and all these things to the streaming, I can't see your name at the back end, I have to make sure that this is you, because or else I will give it to the wrong person, Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move to the fourth winner. Anush Kale, are you lucky? Anush Kale. I think he should be around. Okay. Same, so you didn't give permission to the streaming platform, so but you are here. Okay, thank you. Let's move to the last winner. Let's move. Cleven Chu. Cleven 2 is from Malaysia. So are you there, Cleven? Okay, Cleven 2 is here. Congratulations, guys. So I just read out the names of the winners. The first one is SK Nayon Ali. Second one is Charles Yo. Third one is Hamanta Chatel. Fourth winner is Anush Kale. And the last one is Cleven Chu. Congratulations, guys. We will do the official announcement in the Facebook post and tell you how to claim the prize. And with this, we have finished our what I call Facebook Live webinar session on this Humanagement software. And I would like to thank all of you who are actually here to follow us, for at least 1 hour here, at least now. And also would like to thank, Austin, the founder of this Humanagement software, who are actually willing to sponsor the prizes as well as explaining, what they call indirect with you guys, his vision and how he's going to do it, all kind of feedback, he accepted it. So with this, I would like to say bye-bye, before that, I'll invite Austin to say something first. I always forget.
Yeah, thank you all so much for coming and watching and listening to me talk about this software. And I hope that a lot of you guys decide to give it a shot, and that it can really improve and make your company more enjoyable to run and have more success in the future and more growth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
For those who did not win, don't worry. You have another chance of 5 prizes in the Facebook comment chat. So please go and comment. Try your luck. Not luck. They need some skill there. You can do some mini review or whatever. That's help the founders. Okay, that's all, guys. I will see you tomorrow in another Facebook Live. That's called Boomerang Me. So that is a very interesting software as well. Okay, bye-bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Austin. And also Albert Tam, who is actually helping to answer the question in the chat. Forgot about him.
Yeah.